Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, everybody. How's it going? How is it going? It's Wednesday. Let me just say this real quick. If for any reason you can't join us live, you're going to see me putting this on because it's nippy. It's still, how shall we say it in Michigan? It's still springtime, right? But we're going to be warm today because we're talking about a very warm topic. And and I just want to say thank you. It's incredible how much I must say that we're incredibly blessed here in Michigan. And the reason I say that is because the weather today, right? The weather is not as bad as I see some of our friends in the Midwest are experiencing, right? A lot of our Midwestern counterparts are actually having incredible flooding, yucky, icky stuff. And I am just so grateful that we live in Michigan and that we can actually, can you hear me? Can you hear me? That we live in Michigan and we can actually experience this. So my shoulders are covered because it's a little cold, and you know how it is. You use a furnace, so it senses the temperature, the air temperature, and determines if it's time to come on. And apparently, it's not coming on because it's not cold enough, right? And I don't like my environment too hot because then it's uncomfortable. I like it comfortable so I can walk around barefooted and I don't have to walk around in socks and fleece stuff all winter long. Anyone else like that? Is there anybody else like that? So I like it comfortable, but I don't like when it gets too hot because then your skin gets itchy. And I also don't like it cold. So in the spring, I'll sleep with the window open, and in the fall, but then after a while, I shut it because I get too cold. But I like my environment comfortable, so I'm waiting on the furnace to come on. Maybe it will, but if it doesn't, so I said I'll just grab a sweater and put it over my shoulders because I'm actually wanting to feel myself. So today is Wednesday. It's the first day of spring and I'm wearing pink. So I should have warned everybody that we're all going to be pretty in pink. And look what I found. I found a pink sweater. It's actually mine, but I have a daughter who thinks that my closet is her closet. You know how that works, right? So she takes on my closet, it's her closet, and then she goes nuts in my closet. So we're going to talk about the dangers of breast implants, and I'm so happy that a few of you uh, a few of you have chosen to join us. And Green, hey, how's it going? I wanted to talk about it because here in Metro Detroit recently, weather reporter who has been on air for a while, she's retired now, well, kind of semi-retired, came forward with her story about breast implants and her experience with it. Ironically speaking, just a few weeks prior to, I had watched a series on Netflix called Botched Up Bodies. And it took a look, there's a corresponding series that took place in America on, I think it was TLC or E, that talked about botched when plastic surgery goes wrong and what people do to remedy those situations. And what also amazed me was when I watched this, we're just going to go into this, right? It amazed me the extent to which people will go to use their bodies as an experiment, as a scientific experiment. That's what I call it. Because for the life of me, I can't see myself undergoing plastic surgery for any other reason than it is medically necessary. Do you see what I'm saying? So if my doctors were to say, we need to undergo some kind of cosmetic procedure because it's medically necessary, that's a whole different ball game than opting to go for plastic surgery, especially with breasts. That's something I take very seriously because, true story, before I had children, I was an A cup and I was happy as a lark. It meant that I didn't have to wear a bra and I was comfortable. So I don't know what the big deal was. And then after my first child, when I got pregnant, was the first time in my adult years I wore a bra when I got pregnant with my first child because I had to wear a bra because now I had developed boobs. And you know how people are, oh, we can see your breast and your clothes. And I was working and so on. After 5 months, I was like, to heck with it. I don't need this hassle. I went home and stayed home for the remainder of the pregnancy. and until she was 8 months old. I was like, excuse me, you're looking so closely at me, you can see my boobs. So it was after that, but I started to become aware that we have a relationship with our breasts, and that men have a relationship with women's breasts, and we women have a relationship with our breasts. So it was when I became pregnant, I started to see my boobs as part of the cycle of life, because it was amazing to me how my boobs became engorged, and then they made something called milk that fed a human being. A whole human being was being fed through my body. I used to just sit there and wonder, like, I've become a Jersey cow or something. But you know what was interesting to me was how my then husband, my ex-husband, reacted when my boobs suddenly just poofed out of my chest. He was like, whoa. And I was like, does it really affect men like that? So I started to ask men around me, what is their attraction to women's boobs? And the men were just like, it's a sexual thing, or it's attractive to look at, or some people said it brought them comfort, or it made them, or some people said it was erotic because it made sex sexy or whatever. But what got to me was the relationship that we women have with our boobs that was derived from how men felt about us. So it wasn't just how I felt about my boobs, but it was also how men felt. And that, I think, is what's driving all this stuff. So we're going to talk about that. But I wanted to say this, and I don't know who is who or who whatever, but you just never know who watches you. I really feel for Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams came out yesterday and admitted that she has an addiction. She didn't say which one it was. So there's a lot of speculation which one it is, right? And of course, people said that it was, of course, there was speculation that it's cocaine. She's actually in a treatment facility somewhere in the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And she is telling her truth. And a lot of us know that performers, especially, and that's why you're probably not hearing from a lot of actors and actresses, is because a lot of performers use performance enhancing drugs. Excuse me. I drink my water with ginger, right? And a lot of performers use performance enhancing drugs. Cocaine might be a drug of choice, as well as alcohol. And there are other forms of drugs that people use to perform. Some people feel like they need that extra edge to do that. I don't know about that. It's not my thing. I just get up, feel the jitters a little bit, and then I just get up and do what I have to do. Okay? But for some people, that's required action. So I feel for her. I'm not going to say that I watch the Wendy Williams show. I've never. It's not something that I do. I do think that in a lot of ways she has a show. She has had a loyal following for years and years now, and so she must be doing something right for people to continue to tune in daily, right? So we wish her all the best. Hopefully she gets better, and she's brave enough to come forward and admit that she has an addiction. For so many others, you never hear about it. They keep it out of the press. They never say anything. How will this affect her brand going forward? Well, it's a new era. People like a comeback kid. So people like to see and know what have you come back from, right? So I wish her all the best, and I hope that she gets through it. But the other thing that you watch the news. Have you guys seen this part of the news? Do you watch the news on a daily basis? If you watch your local news, all you're going to get are shootings on Detroit's east side. I mean, you can almost fill it in right now. Where did this take place? Detroit's east side. And that's all you get. You're never going to get stuff that is happening nationally that has impact. But I'm going to talk to my neighbor in just a bit as well, because I've seen her with this product, Roundup. It's coming springtime, and all of us are going to go out and, we start treating our gardens. The frost is lifting a little bit, so we start paying more attention to our lawns and so on. I know I'm just as guilty, because a few nights ago, I was cleaning out my garage. You know how we use our garage as storage? I didn't say that loudly, so my car was never parked in the garage. So I cleaned out my garage, and I sprinkled the anti-possum thing, right? Because it's a thing now. Wild animals just seem to like human beings now more than ever. So, and I was saying to myself, I usually don't do this. I usually ask someone else to do this. So I had on gloves and so on and took precautions to make sure that it didn't come in contact with my skin or my, my nostrils or something like that. You should wear safety goggles. But Roundup, the chemical, that it's a chemical, it has a substance in it called glyphosate, glycosulfate, glycosulphate. For some reason, I need to do some more research on that because I believe that chemical, I have seen it in other substances, in other products. That chemical is a known carcinogen, which means it's a known cancer forming agent. So the chemicals in Roundup. So when you go to we're all going to head down to Home Depot, Lowe's, and all the do-it-yourself home feel-good stores, fixer-upper stores in a few, and load up on stuff that we're going to put into our lawns, right? That's going to go drain into the water table, same recyclable water that we all drink from. But more importantly, we're going to touch it. So it's going to come in contact with our hands, then comes in contact with our skin, because our skins are porous. You know that, right? So whatever you put on your skin, you have to be careful because it absorbs into your cells and into our organs and into our bodies immediately. So we're going to pick up Roundup, then we're going to put it in our cars. So we're going to smell it and inhale it. Then we're going to put it into our garages that are attached to our homes. So we'll be constantly inhaling this stuff. Do you see where I'm going with this? Then we're going to take it out and we're going to hold it to spray it onto weeds and stuff like that, right? It's still going to get absorbed into the skin. So Roundup is a chemical that has been found to contain cancer. So a jury found Monsanto guilty in a few weeks ago. Was it in Ohio or Illinois? Well, in California, a jury also found them guilty again. But the payout is going to be little. It doesn't matter about the payout. You know what matters? What matters is that finally we get the truth from these companies that are manufacturing products, that when they manufacture these products are causing grievous harm to people, right? And so we need to be mindful. So I'm just saying, engage and make sure you use safety precautions, as many safety precautions as necessary, and take time out. Some of these products, we have them in our garages. We probably need to throw them out. We probably need to use them and keep them outside of the house because your garage is attached to your house. So you're inhaling everything trust me, because sometimes you don't even leave your garage door open after you turn your car off. So all the fumes go out. So then when you open the door to the house, all that smell, all that goes in there. Do you see where I'm coming from? Sometimes you just need to leave the garage door open. I know in some subdivisions, there are probably, ordinances that prevent us from doing that. And there are provisions and all sorts of oversight mechanisms that prevent you from leaving your garage door open for an extended period of time. You probably just need a 45-minute window to let the smell out after you turn your car off so the fumes go out, right? And all the fumes that keep bottled up there and so on. I kid you not, these things are happening. So if you're using Roundup or you plan to use Roundup, hey, Ruben, if you plan to use Roundup, then know that there is a chemical in there that is a known carcinogen. I promise you I'm going to look up the name of that chemical because I have seen it. I think I've seen it in other products. I think I've seen it in pills. I think I've seen it in other products that we eat. So I'm going to look it up because if that is the case, they have been lying like a kite to us. As you know, there's a big cover up about the substances that are available in our everyday products and everyday foods that they don't want us to know. Like this morning, I saw a report. You know me, I'm doing my yoga. Maybe I should be listening to calming music. I watch the news while I'm working out. And this morning I was watching the news, and one of my favorite vegetables, kale, is found to have 92% of insecticides. Look at me carefully. Hello. And they say even when washing it. So this is me all day. When I buy veggies, I'm not the type of person who buys them and just put them in a pot or just put them in my salad. I don't do that. I wash them off. So with kale, I would leave it in water to soak off the dirt. Have you ever looked at the bottom of your when you put your veggies, especially your leafy veggies like broccoli, when you buy broccoli whole, not in a bag, when you buy broccoli, cauliflower, right, lettuce, and spinach, right? All types of lettuce, romaine, whatever. Have you ever put them in a pan of water in your sink and seen how much dirt comes off it? Well, I used to do that with kale. Well, now they're saying that even when you wash it, the chemicals that are in it are still there, and there is a, a 5% chance that there is a carcinogen in it that is known to humans. I am like the other vegetables they found this in were, of course, spinach, another of my favorite foods, tomatoes, strawberries, and apples. That's what I eat, right? So I'm like, and they're saying go organic. So I'm like, is this the organic food industry wanting us to buy more stuff? Because frankly, they all use insecticides and so on. They do. They're lying to us. There's no such thing as being organic. You know what is really organic? Real organic is some farmer way out in the hills who doesn't use fertilizer. And if you can find him, put his name up on Facebook so we all go look him up and go buy food from him. Right? So let's just be clear. There's no such thing as organic. Organic was when I grew up and they didn't use fertilizers because they thought it was bad and it made the foods look funny. It used to burn up. My grandmother used to tell us that it used to burn up her fruits and vegetables. So she never used fertilizer. So what we ate growing up, that was organic. Today, heck no, the soil is polluted. The soil is filled with all these leftover opioids that when we go to the bathroom and flush the toilets, it goes into the water table. So there's no such thing as organic. Not in the last 50 years. Right? So unless you find a farmer somewhere who's been farming this particular plot of land for some time, and now he can actually claim that it's organic. It's amazing to me. And this is why sometimes I've heard horror stories of people who just fell ill, right? And go to the doctor and they're diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer that they never even knew they had. And within a few months, they're wiped off the face of the earth. And it over the last several years, it has amazed me. And then especially when I hear about young people developing cancers, and you're like, what on earth is going on? Well, it's in the air that we breathe. It's in the foods that we eat. It's in the products. It's everywhere. So it's in the water. It's in the water. It literally is in the water. Say it's in the water. It's in the water. And literally, over time, they're slowly poisoning us off and killing us off. Whether intentionally, because it's mass genocide, I mean, it's a population control mechanism. I'm serious. These conversations happen in places where policymakers are. Come on now, don't be naive. Don't think it's all hunky-dory and, well, these are just conspiracy theories and these don't happen. That's why you don't know anything. You have to think if it were you and you were in a position of power and you were making policy and they present certain alternatives to you because people have interests, right? So one guy over here wants his product sold, another guy wants his product sold, so they think of ways in which to combat one another. You know who gets distributed in the medium? The consumer. Who is representing the consumer? Nobody, because it's big money at the table. So there's big money at the table with a policymaker who is the politician. Who gets distributed and skivered? We do. So for a lot of people, I think you are looking at it in a different way, and a certain naivety is present. You are assuming altruistically that people are who they say they are, and that people are going to be good. That day and time hasn't happened in 60 years. People are motivated by money, and people are motivated by their own agendas, which inevitably means how much more money am I going to make? So it's driven by money, and as long as money is the driving factor. And this is true globally. This is not just here in America, right? This is true globally. So as long as money is the factor that is driving these things, guess what's not going to happen? Guess. You and I will always get what? Distributed, and you and I will always get skivered. And when we get skivered, we end up with stuff like breast implants that go wrong. We end up with drugs that kill us off. Like I had a show earlier in January in which I told you guys that I learned that radiation, the liquid drug that is used as chemotherapy, kills you off. If you're a healthy person and you're injected with with this much of that drug, you die within 24 hours. It causes hair loss. It causes your organs to shut down. So when somebody is taking chemotherapy and you go there and they spend 4, 5, 6 hours and it's drip, drip, dripping, is it any wonder when they come home that they're sick with nausea? It's not the cancer that is causing that. You know what it is? It's the drug, the chemotherapy drug. This is why sometimes when people are diagnosed with like stage 4 cancers, they'll tell you don't take chemo. You know why they're telling you that? Because they know that chemo does what? It speeds up the process of death, right? It accelerates the process of someone dying. Therefore, they tell you don't do it because you're going to die anyway at stage 4 or stage 3. Do you see where I'm coming from? These are lessons that the information is out there on the web. But as I've always said, we're so inundated with things that distract us, we don't pay attention to what we should pay attention to, which is to find out what on earth is going on, right? And until we start developing and until we start having a thirst for knowledge and become empowered by it, guess what? Good morning, right? Until we start becoming empowered by it, we're never going to get to the point where we're not going to arrive at the place where we're so informed that we start asking questions. Because when you start asking questions, you become dangerous because now they have to answer. So start asking questions. All these companies that make these products, they have Facebook pages, they have social media pages. Look them up and say something. As for me, I saw my neighbor using Roundup, and I made a note this morning to call her and tell her, because I've seen her holding it close to her, and I'm like, no, bad idea, not a good thing to do. So you might say, well, I need to get rid of my weeds. What is the natural way? Well, I guess we're gonna all get down on our knees and rip them out the old-fashioned way. These chemicals were supposed to make life easier. So what we did was we used them. And in making our lives easier, they're killing us off. Somebody is leaving a comment here. Let me see. That farmer is an Ethiopian. All their food is 100. All of the food is 100% organic. We have to farm our own produce. That's good. All right. And somebody else is saying, my ex proved microscopically that there is growth bacteria in many of the brand name water products. She found that Fiji water is free of bacteria growing in it. So that's why they're promoting Fiji water. That's why celebrities drink Fiji water, because they found that there is bacteria in most water. Can I just be honest with you? I was one of those rabid water drinkers, bottled water drinkers. So especially during summer, right? I would be dry. You don't see me without a bottle of water. But something happened to me last summer. I noticed that the water had a different taste to it. See, at home, when I'm in my house, I drink what? I drink boiled water, right? So, but I noticed that when I'm in the car and I'm thirsty and I drink bottled water, it had a taste. But the water in my house that I boil, that comes from the kettle, didn't have a taste. After a while, something started clicking and I developed a headache whenever I drank bottled water. There are some brands I can't touch at all, like Dasani and Aquafina. Oh my gosh, if I so much as taste that stuff, it gives me a headache. So now I can't drink bottled water. So I'm driving down the street sometimes so thirsty, and I'm like, I have to carry water from home. And I never remember walking out of the house. You're always rushing to go out. I never remember to grab me a container of water and take boiled water. Can you believe it? I do believe that there are bacteria and mold on some of the stuff that you can't see, because bacteria sometimes is stuff you can't see, right? I do believe that. And I feel like we need to be able, we become our own doctors, our own physicians, our own scientists. We're doing our own research and we're following through on it, because they're never going to tell us, right? They're never going to tell us. Which brings me to exactly what we want to talk about. We don't have a lot of time today, so I'm just going to go straight into it and tell you how horrified I am at the stories that are emerging about breast implants. I know a lot of people, I know folks who have done breast implants. Thank the Lord. I've never, thank you, Jesus. I don't have to. I was always afraid of surgery. And at one point, I've had children. So, like every woman, you want your boobs to be restored to their pre-baby look, right? And so it is more of an aesthetic appeal, a cosmetic appeal, sort of. And of course, you guys look at us and you seem to admire women with firm boobs, as opposed to women who have given birth, and having given birth, sometimes our boobs with gravity they pull, they fall. I'm saying that with a straight face. I'm really trying to say that with a straight face, so don't judge me, okay? Now, I know someone who has had breast implants. I've never, she didn't, obviously, I saw them on her, and she did say that what she liked about it was the fact that she doesn't have to wear a bra ever. So, under some clothes, you don't ever have to wear a bra. But when the reason we started the conversation was she thought I had done it. And I was like, no. So I said, what is it like? Then she said, if she lifted up her boob, you would see the scar underneath it. So I said, but hold up. If this is supposed to be a cosmetic appeal, then when your husband lifts the boob up, he can still see the scar, right? And she said, yes. I said, so that part didn't turn him off, just the appearance of the boob. I said, oh, okay. And then she said, would you do it? And I said, I don't think I need to. I'm good. Right? And she said, well, it depends. My next question was, well, what made you want to do it? And she said, after she had her first child, she wanted to do it. So I said, well, what size were you? She said she was a B cup. And I said, what's wrong with a B cup? She said, well, she wanted to be a double D. So I said, oh, okay. So she went and got a double D. But she did tell me that you're supposed to replace them every 10 years. And so it made me curious. This was about 3 years ago we had this conversation. And I was looking at her. She's a pretty girl. She's a bright lady. She's very smart, very intelligent, very attractive. And so I started looking at, well, and she said, well, after she did the breast, she did her face. So she did the neck thingy. And I'm like, you could do exercises for your neck, but I didn't say anything. And then she did her nose, and my mouth just kept falling. So, and she did her butt. And I was like, okay, all right. So she said, and she did a liposuction. She said, you've never done anything? You've never had work done? And I was like, no. I said, no, but to each his own. Everybody has their own standard of beauty. And I said to myself, I need to look into this. And I was actually going to do a show on it, but I was on a religious station and they were having all kinds of issues. So I was like, whatever, let's just leave it alone, right? It's one of the reasons why I eventually parted company with them, because I was like, whatever. But do you see what I'm saying? So I was curious about it. My curiosity stayed. I didn't delve into it. So a few weeks ago, my oldest daughter said, Mom, I've been hearing you talk about breast implants. I think you should watch this show. So she literally corralled me. And it was a bad day. It was like snowy all day. So I guess she had my full attention now because I couldn't go anywhere. So she corralled me and turned on Netflix and turned up the series called Botched Up Bodies. And I was horrified. People, I'm telling you, I was horrified. People literally go into surgery, cut their skin. They show you the surgery. You know why they're doing that? Is to deter people. Some people just, oh, I just want my boobs to look bigger. Really? For some people, I'm trying to examine what are the surgical reasons why, the medically necessary reasons why. The other thing I don't believe in, conversely speaking, I don't believe in breast reduction. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And some people say, well, my breasts are so heavy. When I put on a bra, it slides into my bra. I'm like, you're not wearing the right size bra. You're not wearing the bra with the most comfortable straps that will hold you up. And for God's sake, do what all of us do. When we get home, we release. Everybody says release. We take our bras off. Don't we, ladies? As soon as you get home, what's the first thing you do? You take your bra off because it squeezes and it squeezes. It's part of being a woman. We accept that, right? So I don't believe in breast reduction surgery. I don't believe in it. If you have, my mother had what her bras were made for her. She had G. She wore a size G cup. Okay, and all my life, my mother always had grooves in her shoulder from her bra straps. And I used to tell her it's the wrong strap you're wearing. And she said, well, that's how they made it. So when she could, and she bought the ones with the wider straps, right? That supported her. So when you saw mom, all you saw was the stuff coming out. Right? Her breasts looked like they were live. They looked like they were a living thing. They had a life of their own. I was just like, so imagine I was an A cup and I was like, I obviously didn't get the genes. But mom never thought about doing breast reduction surgery. I don't think anyone should ever do that. Do you understand? I don't think you should. In other words, what I'm saying is if you're going to do surgery, it needs to be medically necessary. Breast reduction surgery is just like getting breast lift. It's augmentation. So I want to give you some facts about breast implants that you need to know, because so many women, especially now the children are out of the house, some of us are divorced, so we're looking for new partners. We're looking to enjoy the rest of our lives. So we think it's time for me to go do something for myself. It's time for me to go get that tummy tuck or to get that breast reduction or to go get that breast lift so that I can be more attractive to attract someone new. What are people saying? As a man, I honor and love the natural beauty of a woman. Okay, I'll take that with a grain of salt. Thank you. On behalf of all women everywhere. So I'm going to give you some facts about it, because initially, when we were first, the women started doing breast implants in the 1960s. So initially, they were using silicone to do them. Silicone is the sealing agent that you put around the caulking. It's in caulking, what we call caulking, that you put around doors, windows, cracks in your bathroom and stuff like that. Why on earth would we put that into our bodies, put it in a balloon and then put it in our bodies? I don't know. I don't know. So breast implants started 50 years ago. Here are some reasons why we shouldn't do it. Are you ready? They're toxic. Here's why they're toxic. Breast implants is the number one surgical procedure for women. True, right? Surgeons often minimize the risks. Why would a surgeon minimize the risk of doing a breast implant? Why? That's his money. So a plastic surgeon lives for what? A woman needing a cosmetic surgery, right? So when you go in and you say, well, what are the risks associated with it? He's going to minimize the risk because he wants your money, because your money gives him his lifestyle. So he's not going to tell us the truth about why breast implants are bad for us. He's not going to tell us that breast implants hurt you, that they leak, that they cause all kinds of problems, and that they really shouldn't. There's a whole industry around it. And what we're finding is that when you complain about it, when you go out of your way to complain, they're like, okay, so what? A group of 39 women are going to Washington on the 25th of March to talk about breast implants and the dangers of it. Right? They're going to testify in front of a panel, including the Food and Drug Administration, right? But here's the thing. You know why they have chosen to do so? Because what? The medical industry and the industry that makes breast implants, the product that makes it, don't want the public to know. So unless you know, you're not going to know. So if you're a performer, right, actress or singer, it's almost standard procedure for you to go get a boob job because they're going to tell you you're not attractive enough. Well, you need to lift your boobs a little. They're a little saggy. They will tell women derogatory things about our bodies, right? They'll tell you to go get a tummy tuck. As for me, if you don't like me the way I am, keep walking. I do not elect to do any surgery that is not medically necessary. I am terrified because from what I have seen, a lot of these surgeries go wrong. A lot, more than 50% of them go wrong, or they leave after effects. If you were to watch the film Botched Up Bodies, what you would see is a woman who elected to do a butt implant. They use the same sealant, the caulking silicone thingy that you put in your bathroom. That's what they put in a thing and injected it into her butt. After the first year, she started itching a little. She got used to that. By the third year, she was itching so much, she scratched the skin off her butt. They took her to the by now she's having fainting spells and passing out. They took her to the emergency room. She woke up 2 months later out of a coma, and by then they had to cut off her arms and her legs to save her life. It was either she was going to die because the infection from this procedure had invaded her body. The bacteria had grown so bad that it almost killed her off. That's how bad these surgeries are. So you have your daughter who is a C cup and everybody around her is a double D or whatever. And she comes and she says, I think I would get more boys, or I think I would be more successful if I could do my boobs. I need to go do my boobs. And then what does she do? She goes and does a boob surgery. Here's what she's in for. Your friend, your daughter, your granddaughter. Here's what she's in for. It causes toxic shock syndrome. It causes deformity in the chest wall. Here are the common symptoms. The common symptoms are mental confusion. That's what this TV anchor said, right? Joint pain, hair loss, dry eyes, chronic fatigue, persistent flu-like symptoms, and of course, the big one, depression. Like duh. And here is why. Here's why it causes all of that. When the silicone gel leaks, it causes a reaction to the cells in our bodies. So it leaks into your organs, your lungs, and your liver. I almost fainted when I read that. I couldn't believe that. So the silicone gel that they place in the balloon-like looking thing that gives you, that makes your body, that silicone gel leaks into your chest cavity and leaks into your lungs and your liver. It gets worse. The other thing is, these things are designed to degrade chemically, so they release their contents. Did they tell you that up front? So it produces a symptom called necrosis, a disease called necrosis. Necrosis is a respiratory problems, right? That leaks from your lymphatic ducts. In other words, under our arms, this is where the breast is connected. That's why anybody who has ever had breast surgery, they know what's going on here, right? So your lymphatic ducts are around here. So the chemicals in the product leak into your lymphatic ducts. It causes bacteria, mold. Hello? Mold inside your body. Is it any wonder that people are so sick and have persistent flu-like symptoms? There's bacteria leaking into your body, right? I cannot believe this. They're prone to bacteria, yeast, and mold. And then saline, that they tell us that is supposed to be the safest thing, when it releases, the substances are aggressive and leaks into your body's cells and tissue and causes us to be sick. People, my friends, my family, my people, do not do breast implants. Do a cosmetic surgery that is only medically necessary. If you are female and you have an A cup and they're making you laugh, go lift weights. The pectoral muscles under your chest will eventually raise your breasts up. Just give it time. Do what Mae West did. Mae West said all she did was caress her breasts at night. Hello, somebody. You don't have to go buy a balloon-like substance that leaks into your body. If they're telling you that if you wear, and this is good for long-term users. Now, years ago, they said you should replace it every 10 years. Now, if they're saying long-term users, but guess what? They didn't say who was a long-term user. They didn't give a time on it. So you put something in your body, and if you watch the film Botched Up Bodies, what happens is when you put something in your bodies, eventually your flesh, your cells start reacting to it one way or another. It either starts growing and become attached to it, or it starts looking at it, right? So imagine now, so you guys are over here on Periscope looking at me like stunned. You have no idea how stunned I am that we actually put these things in our bodies that we really don't need to, but we do it for aesthetic appeal. We do it because somewhere somebody told someone that you need to have bigger boobs to get by in life. And so you see, and they present, and guess what? They market it. You see? So the marketing is compelling. The advertising around it is so compelling, you're going to do it anyway. So the advertising is so compelling that what happens is you get up and do it because it tells you the only reason this girl is married to this guy, the only reason she got this role, the only reason she did this, the only reason she did that is because she has bigger boobs. That's the subliminal messaging and the implied message. So people go out and get this stuff done, and before you know it, you're dead in the water. And enough women are not coming forward to say so because they are afraid and ashamed. And they don't want to know. So instead of coming forward, they run back to the same doctor who put it in, who then gives her a bag of goods and tells her he's minimizing the risks because he doesn't want to be sued for malpractice, because it's only a matter of time. He doesn't want to be sued for malpractice. And he doesn't want to lose his business because breast augmentation is $1 billion business. Women pay upwards from $5,000 upwards. That's cheap, actually. They pay $10,000, $15,000 to stick some boobs, some saline in their chest to make it appear like you have big, huge, humongous breasts, like the whole population is. There are very few women who actually have that. And so what? We perhaps need to have an adjustment of our self-image. We need to learn to accept ourselves as we are. Some of these have you ever seen somebody doing a nose job? Have you ever seen the surgery that involves in doing it? They break the bone. Oh Lord Jesus, and reset it because you now have to change the facial structure. This is the nose I was born with. This is the one I'm going to keep. It's a little too late for me. I'm not doing it. There are exercises you can do for your neck thingy. And frankly, if you moisturize your neck as much as you moisturize your face, then eventually the skin on your neck and face will match. That's just common sense right there. But a lot of people we have done extensive damage to ourselves. We've had too much drugs. We've had too much drinking. Those are contributing factors, right? So when the rest of us say we are not drinking or so on, we're not being prudes. We're being mindful of our overall health. Because oftentimes people have to do cosmetic surgery to replace what's damaged. Even as people of color, we spend way too much time in the sun. We're exposed to the sun too much, which causes a whole boatload of skin problems, right? And then when people like I say that I can't tolerate the sun because it burns and makes my skin peel, you think it's something else. I don't have to prove anything to you because you're not the one who's going to live with the skin when it's damaged. So I don't have to do that to myself. And this is why I choose to live in Michigan, because years ago when I was 18, my dermatologist told me to move to somewhere cooler. You're going to have to live in the northern United States or Canada to avoid sun damage, because sun damage will give you skin cancer. So most of my life, if you look at my hands even now, you can see that last summer I didn't do a good job of covering my skin because you can see the spots. And I'm seeing them now. And yesterday I looked at my skin and I was horrified at me because last summer I allowed my skin, my arms to go bare. And in allowing it to go bare, I have now seen the effect of sun damage. Will it ever clear up? I don't know. I hope it doesn't leave any other damage but surface. You see what I'm saying? So I cover my face in the sun, during the sun, when it's sunny. I keep my neck and so on covered. I don't care if you don't like it. That's your problem. You're not the one living with me. I'm not going to get sick because you think that I'm making a fashion statement. That's your insecurity. I don't care. And people of color especially are more prone are just as prone to getting sun damage. Many of you, for instance, have a dark spot on one side of your face, don't you? Say yes, because it's true. You have a dark spot on one side of your face that you probably had to use some sort of bleaching cream or lightening cream to round out your complexion. You probably even have a dark spot up here on your forehead. You know what that is? That's sun damage. And you look around you and you say, well, everybody in my family has it. Well, everybody in your family has sun damage. And from the day you were born, you were out in the sun because you thought because your skin, they sold you a bill of goods that says because your skin is dark and because we're people of color, we're not prone to having sun damage. That's not true. Sun damage is sun damage, irrespective of the color of your skin. It's still going to burn up your skin. Hello. Right? So there you are going to the dermatologist, and you have to do, years ago, I had a friend of mine who had to do what is called a glycolic peel to peel back the sun damage off her skin. I mean, when she did it, it was amazing what it did. But it's a non-surgical procedure. It's non-invasive. And the doctor performed it without acupuncture. She used something to put on her skin, and it literally lifted the sun damage off. And they don't offer you things like that. When you go in, they offer you the quick solution that's the most expensive, the one that is best for them, not for you. And they're not going to sit there and tell you what the risks are. It's even like when a woman goes in, I'm just saying the truth, a woman goes in for, a young woman goes in for contraceptive advice, birth control mechanism, and they tell her about the IUD, but they don't tell you about the infection that the IUD causes. They don't tell you about it being in there after 3 months, what it does to the area. A woman who is having bladder control issues, they don't tell her to do Kegel exercises or to go in the pool and put a ball between her knees and exercise it. No, they tell her to come in and do radical surgery and implant a mesh inside of her that eventually causes cancer. I kid you not. So they're not going to tell you what is good for you. They're going to tell you what is best for them that is going to cause money. Right? Let's read some more about what this stuff does. And it says that respiratory problems are common, especially amongst those that use the saline kind of breast implant. So for all you, I'm going to talk about to you guys in a minute, because you help women define our self-image. To a great extent, our self-image is defined by how men see us. There are very few of us who are strong enough in ourselves to accept ourselves as we are. There's a prevailing societal standard of beauty that we ascribe to, right? That determines how we look. And so women are in pursuit of what that looks like. That's where this big butt syndrome comes from, right? Some women of color have always had big butts, but it was never celebrated. In fact, do you know that they used to teach Black women back in the day dances that would minimize their butts? I learned that in ballet. I kid you not. I kid you not. I could not believe it. Because they thought what happens is it was white women who set that standard, because white men liked women, Black women, women who had big butts, and they were invariably by Black women. So his eyes would always wander to the Black woman's butt, even if she was the maid. So the white woman determined the standard of beauty that you should not have big butts. To heck with that. What standard of beauty are we supposed to ascribe to? How about your standard of beauty? Are you beautiful? The Bible says you are made fearfully and wonderfully in his image. So whose image are you allowing to dictate what you look like? And this goes for Black men too. Whose image are you judging us by? Are you judging us by the fact that we are fearfully and wonderfully made? Or do you have some image of some white chick in your mind when you look at your partner and think that that's what she should look like? Right? I'm a woman of color all day, every day. I'm multi-ethnic. I have relatives from all sides of the spectrum all day, every day in my DNA. I can't help how I was made. My mother and father got together and had sex, and here I come. I didn't choose my ethnicity. I had no choice in my birth. I had no control over that. So now there's a societal standard that's going to dictate to me how I should feel about myself based on someone else's perception. I don't buy that. I choose not to buy that because immediately I think it's going to be prejudicial to me and it's going to hurt me negatively. So I don't subscribe to that. I am me. I do what suits me. I wear what suits me. I work out when I have the time to, so I try to make it happen. But if you don't like me, if I have a man and he doesn't like how I look and he had some image in his mind of what is ideal, that's his problem, not mine. So we're going to be, oops, because you need to go find that thing that works for you. Because I'm not going to do any surgery. I watched an actress the other day. She was in a film on Netflix. I can't remember her name. And we're in the day of HD cameras, right, Aunt? Right? So you can see everything. This girl, to look slim and maintain the slim that is elusive, she did surgery in her arms. You could see the lines, the scar in her arms. You could see the line in her leg and around her knee, all in an effort to be elusively thin. People take drugs to be elusively thin. Did you know one of the common things people do is inject themselves with diabetes drugs? Yeah, they take diabetes drugs. Who is giving it to them? Their doctors giving it to them illegally, right? People take diabetic drugs so they can eat what they want and it keeps them looking slim. Because we have this unhealthy body image that is promoted by a society that believes in eternal youth that cannot be achieved. Our bodies are organic, they're made to decompress and crash after a while. That's why when we died in Muslim culture, when someone, have you ever been to a Muslim funeral? Never? Never seen one? Never? Okay. In the Muslim culture, not here in America, but in overseas in tradition in lands where Muslim culture is practiced. When someone dies and is being buried, they're buried quickly within 3 days, right? The other thing that happens is they don't do this grand casket thing where they pay thousands of dollars on a casket. It's a pine box. And the person is wrapped in white muslin cloth. Muslin, Muslin, is a soft cloth that is cotton and silk. And when at the burial, the person is placed in the hole outside of the box. So the box is just to convey the body. Then they take the body out and place the body in the ground, in the soil, without covering, except for the white muslin cloth. They put slats over it and fill the hole up with dirt, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We don't do that in Western culture because I think we're concerned about if the person died with a disease, the deterioration goes back into the water table. They're observing it as a religious practice. In other words, what I'm saying is, and they too, in those cultures, they have become just as modern as we are, where they're practicing this cosmetic enhancement procedure. You got to watch this film, Botched Up Bodies. There was even a guy there who thought he had man boobs. Are you all guys laughing? He thought he had man boobs, so he went to surgically remove them, and then they altered where his nipple was. So his nipple ended up here, one ended up here, and the other one ended up down here. So he had to go back to get the surgery to put it where they need to be. And I was like, did you think of going to the gym and lifting some weights and build up your pecs? That would take care of the fat. Duh. You'd be amazed what people do to their bodies. There was one girl who went to have a designer vagina. Did I tell you guys about that? Such a thing actually exists, designer vagina. So apparently people are busy posting images of their vagina online, apparently, right? And she wanted a designer vagina. She was told that hers wasn't attractive. Some guy must have not liked her. You know how people can be cruel. And so she went to do surgery to enhance her vagina, and it came out wrong. It came out looking worse. She needed 6 surgeries to correct that. 6 surgeries. And when they showed the picture of it, you were like, girl, Nobody looking at you like that down there. How many people are seeing you? I kid you not. The extremes with which people subject their bodies to extreme types of unnecessary surgery that are deemed medically unnecessary just for cosmetic and aesthetic appeal. So I want to ask the question, when you look at yourself in the mirror, whose standard of beauty are you following? Because I have never looked at myself. For me, I've never looked at myself and thought that I look like someone else. I have this image of me, so I'm trying to be my best at all times, right? I try to look my best at all times. Now, there are certain things I can control because years ago I wore braces, and when it was time to fit for the thingy you wear after braces, whatever the thing is called, the thing that you have to put on at night, I couldn't sleep. It gave me the worst headaches. Finally, when I went back to the dentist, they told me that my facial structure and my bone structure is such that it closes in anyway. So that's what was causing the thing to not, what's the thing called? The thing that you put on after you wear braces. I couldn't wear it. So 25 years later, I still look like I need braces. You think I'm going to go put it on again? Hell no. No. I'm scared because it gave me massive headaches. And he explained to me that what happened was they were forcing my bones to move. And my face, the way my face is naturally designed, is that it's designed to look exactly like that. So when he showed me what my skeleton looks like, I was like, that's how they made me. It is what it is. They just put some skin and, put some skin over it and some flesh over it. I'm like, that's it. I'm good. I'm not going to go through all that headache just for that. Oh, retainers. So I never wore retainers because when I put it on, it gave me massive headaches. Wearing braces gave me a headache, but I just thought it came with the territory. So what I found was they were forcing my teeth to come and contract and pushing them out. And they did, you know how braces are? They take out some of your teeth. I miss them now. I was like, are you sure you need to take them out? They took out like two here. And then they said, no, we need to take out some more to make space for when the teeth move. I don't know that worked. I think that was as cosmetic as I went. The rest of it, I don't know. I've had 2 children. It is what it is. So even when I was 35, no, when I was 37, by then I had my second child. Then I've had 2 children. My body is what it is going to be. Yes, I work out. Yes, I lift weights for my arms to strengthen, so that you can lift stuff and you can open jars and so on. Yes, I do all of that. But my friends, I'm not going to ever open my body to put in a breast implant that's going to cause it to leak because it chemically degrades and it leaks into my lymphatic ducts, causes bacteria and mold and yeast in my body. No, babies, no. Hello, no, just no. She must have gotten a knockoff, but really though, wow, I'm serious. I kid you not, folks. And my friend, remember I told you about my friend who had done breast implants. She says it depends on who you go to and what, how much you pay and so on. So she got the best that she could get. She got the best that's available on the market. But I still hesitate to recommend doing breast implant for anybody. I still think it's a medically unnecessary procedure, and I still think maybe wear a push-up bra, huh? And even those, they hurt your rib cage. The wires in bras hurt. So we women have a terrific time trying to appeal to satisfy the beauty requirements of men. A 50-year-old man and a 50-year-old woman are not equally the same. A 50-year-old man can look like a hang dog. I mean, he can have a beer belly, his belly hanging over, right? His cheeks sagging, his eyes has bags around his eyes, gray hair sprouting through his nose, his ears, and everywhere, and he's just a man. But a 50-year-old woman shows up looking like that. She's old, she's derided, she's torn down. I kid you not. No, Frank. So I think the same standard of beauty that applies to us should apply to men. And frankly, if you want me, you're going to have to be attractive. So, and you're going to have to maintain your attractiveness. Just like you expect me to get up and work out, you're going to maintain yours as well. No, you can't. No, it's equal, because you're not going to tell me that for you to continue to, it's my responsibility that I continue to be attractive to retain your attention. Are you kidding me? Uh-uh. It's your responsibility to stay faithful. That's what your responsibility is. And I think that's where we need to come at men for. So many of us are in relationships, whether we're married or long-term relationships, where people make you feel like you're not attractive enough. And that is their excuse for them to flirt and be with everybody else, be with the community. No, no, baby. Wrong person right here. Wrong person. Find the person who matches you best and who thinks like you do. Because you look at a 50-year-old man, white, black, green, or yellow, it doesn't matter what ethnicity he is. And you're like, okay, so he's in his 50s. Well, why can't you look at a woman the same way? We color our hair, we change our hairstyles, people go and get facelifts, adjust their noses, do eyelid surgery. For the love of God, do this, everybody. You want eyelid surgery? Hold this up. Count to 20 every day. After a while, you will not need eyelid surgery. When I was 26 years old, I had my first child. And God bless her. Her name is Yvonne, some woman from England who came to visit me and my then husband, right? And I think the baby was like about 5 or 6 months. And she said, now that you're going back out into the world and you want to think about getting back in shape, here are some things you can do. Here are some exercises. And she showed me some facial exercises. I kid you not. She showed me facial exercise. She says, if you do these, you will never need cosmetic surgery. You'll never need a facelift a day in your life. And I have done those exercises for all of 26 years now. My daughter is 26 now. She showed me exercises for my body. That's how I learned yoga. She introduced me to yoga. And I've incorporated those routines in my daily workout. When I say workout, don't get me wrong. I don't go have a gym in my house that I go on and run tracks. I used to have an elliptical. And then, stuff happens. Right? And I'm fine. I may get one back because I actually like the rowing motion because it increases your heart rate. Right? So over time, we have stuff built up around our hearts, around the arteries around our hearts, because we eat butter, eat stuff that is fried. So over time, may not happen overnight, but over time, something happens, right? So I make sure that, I do every now and then I do on the spot jogging to get the blood pumping in areas that the blood probably doesn't pump as frequently. But it comes back to our body image, right? That's why women do breast implants for you guys, men, because you view us as being more attractive with bigger boobs. And you tell us that. The messaging from advertising suggests that to you. And you see all the porn stars and all the Stormy Daniels of the world with their big boobs. And then you look at your woman and you let her know that she would be more attractive with boobs. So she goes out and places herself in grave danger to satisfy some elusive ideology, some elusive idea that she's suddenly going to be more attractive. See where I'm coming from? Is it fair? No. Should we hold you guys to the same standard? I think so. Imagine if we told you had to go do liposuction to get rid of your bare belly. You'd come back bawling. Have you guys ever had a prostate exam? Come back to me. That's as surgical as you're gonna get for most of you. And you're like, no, we're good. I'm good. Okay, well, teach us the same thing. And I am not saying that as a woman, I don't want to see myself for the very best that I am at any time. I'm going to present myself the very best picture of myself that I can be. But that is me satisfying my own standard. So my own standard is based upon a self-image of myself. It's not based upon some societal standard that I'll never achieve. I'm never going to have blue eyes. or green eyes or whatever that is. I'm never going to have that. So why judge myself according to that? I like lighter colored hair because I think it makes me look more attractive to me. And then I have issues with having dark colored hair because that's how I wore my hair when my ex-husband dragged me across the floor. I don't want a reminder of that every time I look at myself. So I wear lighter colored hair. Do you see what I mean? I think I'm fine body wise. I'm 52, so I'm fine. I'm not fine for 52. I'm fine because I'm fine. Do you see where I'm coming from? And that's how we women need to look at ourselves. You're not fine because you're 60. You're not fine because you're 40, or you're fine for 60, or you're fine for 40. You're fine because you are fine. That's how I tell myself. I tell myself I'm fine. I'll be 53, I'll be 54, I'll be 55, I'll be 65. I'm still gonna be fine because I am fine. I think myself fine. I have daughters who are women, are young women now, right? And they're fine. And I tell them about their positive body images. I tell them they're pretty, they're fine, and so on. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you so much. And this is the message that I want us women to have, because you're endangering yourselves in electing to do these surgical, non-medically necessary procedures. For the love of God, you want a bigger butt? Do squats. You want a bigger butt? Do that leg raise thing where you go down on all fours and raise your leg up, whatever that is called, right? Do some squats. It builds up the glutes. Do the one that you lay down on your back and you raise your hips up, right? It also helps with your bladder control mechanisms. Do some research and do some exercises, right? But don't go out there and cut your bodies open to satisfy some guy who, if you think about it, he's going to move on to the model that he is idolizing. So why don't you do yourself a favor and be you and leave him in the dust? Because clearly you are not what he likes. When someone loves you, they love you for you. I told you the story of my housekeeper, Pearl, years ago, right? She had no teeth, no front teeth. Her eyes were perpetually red. She didn't never cleaned her face, so she never wore makeup, never bothered with that kind of cosmetic procedure, never even did her hair, wore her hair natural. She had 5 children with 5 different men. And she came to me one day and told me she fell in love, someone fell in love with her and was going to marry her. 5 children with 5 different men. No front teeth, y'all. And her eyes were perpetually red. The sweetest person you could ever meet. Man, she used to cook for me. Right? And Pearl got married. So don't tell me that when someone loves you, they don't love you. That's not love. And I think a lot of women set themselves up for this unattainable standard. I see them all the time out and about. You know, you see all these women who are mothers, young mothers, and they look unrealistically thin. They also look very miserable, right? Because what they have to do to maintain that thinness, it makes them miserable. But they're so worried about keeping their husbands, because if they don't do it, he has his eye on someone else who's going to do it. So her reality is punctured and dictated by how her husband feels about her. So you see, as women, it's like the more things change, the more they remain the same. We try to achieve independence. We try to achieve some level of stability for ourselves. But then it still always comes back to how the man feels about you. So how the man feels about you dictates your whole life. That's why you're going out there trying to be unrealistically thin, making yourself miserable, taking diabetic drugs, smoking, and doing cocaine. You know, a lot of people do that, right? A lot of people take cocaine, do cocaine because it keeps them slim. Just like a lot of people smoke because it keeps them slim. It fills them up so they don't have any need for food. Why? You will get lung cancer. That's not a novel idea. That's a truism, right? And similarly, when you do cocaine over a period of time, it is going to damage your organs, because there's no such thing as pure cocaine. The cocaine you get in America is a derivative of stuff. They mix ammonia together. They mix all kinds of stuff together. So it's not pure. So you're ingesting chemicals into your body. They don't want you to know that. Well, the information is out there, right? It's just like drinking alcohol. There's some things, honestly, I'm not triggered by. So alcohol, you can never get me drunk. I'm not going to drink. You'd have to put something in that drink because I don't drink. I don't see the point in drinking that is going to hurt me in the long run. That's why I don't do drugs. No matter, I have problems like the rest of the world. But I don't believe that smoking or taking weed or drinking is going to help that or make the problem go away. The problem will not go away, right? It is what it is. I don't eat to make the problem go away either. I eat because I'm hungry. I feel hungry, so I eat. Sometimes I wait too long in between meals, but I try. I don't want to go to the doctor like I did in November. And she said, you gained 8 pounds. I'm still terrified of that. That thing gave me qualms. You, I actually ate during Thanksgiving and Christmas. What are you going to say now? I gained 16 pounds. But she's like, it's a health thing, Harriet. It's a health thing. I'm like, you weigh 98 pounds soaking wet. We're not the same. Your standard of beauty is different from mine. You think you're attractive at 98 pounds soaking wet. I think you look like you need a sandwich ASAP. That is not to say that I believe in being obese. That is just to say that I think you need to be where you're comfortable. So I'm comfortable at a particular look and size. I'm okay because after that I get miserable when I can't eat. So I can go for 12 hours between meals. 18 hours is kind of pushing it. By then I'm miserable. But after that, no, I can't engage in that long-term protracted periods of hunger that dictates to women that's what is necessary for you to remain slender. We have to attack that and tear it down, right? These unrealistic standards of beauty. It is unrealistic. We have this unrealistic youth culture that says that you're only relevant and intelligent if you're young. It's the same thing. That's why we disrespect our elders. In every other culture, we respect what our elders say, except here in America. We tear down people who are our elders. We deride them. We make fun of them. And we expect a woman at 50 and 60 to look like she just turned 30? No. So she goes to get a breast implant. You remember Kanye West's mother, who was trying to ascribe to some standard of beauty and ended up dying on the operating table because her blood pressure was too high. She was doing liposuction. Eat less carbs, eat less sugar, exercise. Yeah, have a dedicated program. Consistency with exercise. Consistency is what wins. It's not how long you do it, it's consistency. Work the same muscles over and over and have most people don't succeed at exercise because they're not consistent. I have a program. I get up a certain time in the morning and I exercise 20 minutes, sometimes 25, sometimes 30 because I get caught up, and 3 or 4 days a week, max. I'm done. 4 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I give myself a break on a Thursday. You see where I'm coming from? Consistency is what wins. Develop a routine that works for you and do it and have fun while you're doing it. For me, because I don't enjoy exercising, I watch TV while I'm doing it because it distracts me. So I might be watching TV and then I forget what it is. And then before you know it, I'm at 25 minutes and I'm like, oh, wow, I got to go. It also relaxes me in the mornings. You see where I'm coming from? So I don't have an unrealistic, unattainable standard of beauty. I wasn't born with blonde hair. So far be it from me to go say that is my standard of beauty is blonde hair and blue-eyed looks. No, that's unattainable. That's totally unattainable. It's like we tell Black women that having light skin is a standard of beauty. So they go and bleach themselves. That too is unattainable and unrealistic because what it takes to bleach the skin is also going to give them cancer later on. That's why people are dropping dead from cancer. Love the skin that you're born in. I can't say it enough. Love you. How about this? You don't want to love your skin? How about loving you? Do you like yourself? When you look in the mirror, do you smile at yourself? Because I can't look in a camera and see my reflection and I'm not smiling. So do you smile at yourself? Right? Love yourself so much so that you will enjoy you and others will fall in love with you. It's true. And in the meantime, do some workout. It works. Wear a waist trainer or something, right? That will keep your tummy flat as you go through the day. It helps to sweat calories off or whatever. After my second daughter was born, I wore one of those things. I had to, because I had to immediately, because you want to get your tummy back, back flat pre-pregnancy, because it's more attractive. I like the look when my tummy is flat. I like that. There are some things I can't escape. When I sit down, I look like I have a roll. Trust me, I do not have a roll. If you touch it, it's tight. But it's the way a human being is made. So people are looking at themselves on TV and have this unrealistic image. So what they do, they just put on like 5 different Spanx that hold it in. Because you want people to look like they're not human. People are human, right? Can't say it enough. Love the skin that you're in, right? Love the skin that you're in. Please tell everybody about breast implants, that it causes yeast, mold, and bacteria, that even the saline implants that they say are safe leak into your lymphatic ducts. It causes abnormal chest cavity. And when it starts leaking, because listen to this, it's made to chemically degrade. So they're putting something in your body that they're not telling you that is going to degrade chemically. Are you comfortable with putting a chemical substance in your body and then putting the skin over it so it looks like you suddenly have the double D breasts and you think, or big butts? The thing now is this big butt thing. Because you think it's going to attract who? Somebody's going to love your looks, your body, more than they love you, the person. Are you kidding me? Since when has that ever worked? Like never. Say never. Never works. People stay with you because of you. If they don't want to stay with you, you probably don't want them around. Let them go. Because they're going to cause you more harm than good. Because if it's not your boobs, it's your butt, it's your eyes, it's your nose, it's your this. When you have someone in your life who is constantly picking on parts of you, it is going to affect your self-esteem and affect the way you look. Like that girl in the movie that needed a designer vagina. One person whom she cared about, whose opinion was so important to her, she valued that opinion, that who told her something was wrong with the look of her vagina, of all places, of all things. She went and decided to do surgery to enhance her vagina. The statistics are that it's mostly 14-year-old girls who do surgical enhancement of their vagina, which means their parents are complicit. And look how you change over time. So there are some people in Hollywood who want their vagina to look like it looked when they were 15. And I'm like, well, how it looks now? I don't even want to go there. I'm like, okay. And people are like, well, Harry, you don't know. If a man, ladies, if a man is looking at your vagina and telling you that you need to go do surgery on it, you know what he's telling you? What? Say it. He's looking at teenage vaginas. He's watching child porn. Or he's had sex with a child. Go figure. So if a man is looking at you, a grown woman, and telling you that your vagina should look different, the question you should ask him is, what 15-year-old vagina have you been looking at? Because that's what that is telling you. You see, he just revealed himself to you. He's only with you because it's the responsible thing to do. But when he's not with you, he's actually having sex with 15-year-olds. Hello. Didn't think of it that way. but it is what it is, right? So, in recapping, uh, breast implants are the number one surgical procedure for women worldwide, not just here in the United States. They are poisonous, they do give toxic shock syndrome, and they cause chest deformity. They also cause a condition called necrosis. Necrosis is where the ducts, where the liquid leaks into the ducts, yeah, into the lymphatic ducts, right? And it causes respiratory problems, chronic fatigue, persistent flu like symptoms, mental confusion, depression, joint pain, hair loss, dry eyes. A whole host of problematic issues ensue from having this. And when you go to get a consultation, the surgeon minimizes the risks. I guarantee you on the 25th of March, when these women go to Congress to talk about the ills of breast cancer, there's going to be a whole lobby that's going to say it's not true because there is a whole industry behind it. It's a whole industry that makes those balloon like things that women implant in our chest, right? There's a whole industry that surrounds it. I am so sorry. I did not want to be the bearer of bad news, but it is what it is. But time's up. I gotta go. Right? If this message has been a blessing to you, which I'm sure it has, I encourage you to go to my website, harrietkemick.com, be a blessing to us, as well as go to the exodusfoundation.com and help us to be a blessing to others, right? We continue to provide services to survivors of human sex trafficking, women who have been affected by what other people say about them. And if you're a woman who has suffered because someone told you that you weren't woman enough, or that you reach 40, 50, or 35, after 35, 40, 50, they start telling you your body's not the same as it was, I pray for you. And I hope you find the strength to deal with that. And I hope you do not choose surgery as an elective option. There are other things we can do to improve our appearance. We can change the color of our hair, change the style of our hair. We can certainly engage in a weight loss program guided by a doctor. We can certainly engage in an exercise program guided by with our physician, depending on what your medical conditions are, right? And use those programs to be the guide that gets us to where we want to be. But I encourage you, if that is your option, look at yourself and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I under pressure to do this? Am I under pressure to ascribe to some societal image based on my social group? Because women in my social group have elected to have surgery, so I have to comply with the herd mentality? Or am I doing it because I really want to, or is it medically necessary? The answers to those questions will determine your way forward. So I encourage you to do that. Right? Tomorrow, we're going to talk some more about addictions and how do we get rid of addictions? How are we going to get rid of addictions? What do we do? What causes addictions? How do these things happen to us? What do we do with that stuff, right? So make sure you tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be live. We stream from youtube.com. So my Facebook friends, if ever we're watching and something happens, Facebook is crazy. The app closes out. Right now I'm using a laptop. Or Twitter, the app closes out, Twitter and Periscope. I stream from YouTube. It's a much more stable platform. It's very stable and not a glitch, nothing. YouTube may go down like once in 10 years, but Twitter and Facebook is almost a daily thing, right? They're constantly upgrading the software because they're constantly watching people, right? YouTube is a much different platform, so it's much more stable. But Twitter and Facebook, those platforms, they're constantly reviewing people. The law enforcement sometimes activates cameras so they can see what people are doing in their homes. Like they're probably watching me to see if I'm smoking or drinking or whatever. Probably think I have some liquor in that thing. I'm drinking water with ginger. I'm going to put it in a clear container so you can see it's water with ginger. I do it for my throat. Right. It minimizes all the poisons and toxins in the atmosphere. Right? So tomorrow we're going to talk about addictions. Some people are even addicted to plastic surgery. Like they keep going back and back to stretch their skin and to improve this and lift their eye a little 1 centimeter higher than it was before, to lift the skin off your face. God help us. Watch that film, Botched Up Bodies, and then you'll see why probably some of this is not a good idea, right? So go to my website, harrietkemick.com, or go to the exodusfoundation.com. And while you're at it, the film Last Words, I played the therapist in that film. Go watch it on Amazon. Stream it, watch it on Amazon, right? And celebrate with us as we have brought this to fruition. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you for being a part of my experience on this first day of spring 2019. And Pretty in Pink. Say Pretty in Pink, everybody. We're pretty in pink. So we're pink all day today. For the rest of the week, I think I'm going to try to wear something pink every day. Oh, but God bless me. If I can find anything in my closet that Alexandra has not taken, maybe I can go pink all week. I'm not sure. That seems to be one of her favorite colors. Anything I have, it just disappears. I'm so lucky. I found a dress. It was actually in her closet. Maybe I should start there. That's an idea. All right, baby. Thank you so much, everybody. Be blessed. Thank you. Be blessed. Much love. See you tomorrow. And for some reason, I always say goodbye to Facebook, to Facebook.